I would like to thank European Student for Liberty to give us the opportunity to talk about our topic. And I would like to welcome you to our panel about freedom in education and with our four interesting speakers. Before they introduce themselves, I would like to just say a few words about our topic and also introduce myself. I'm Jiří Košárek. I'm founder and board member of an organization called SvobodaUčení.cz, which could be translated as Freedom of Learning.cz. We started as a simple website in 2012 with a few articles about education, about psychology, and so on. But till then, it has grown to an organization with a lot of goals and activities. But my colleague Tomáš here will say more about that. I think that everyone in this room will agree that we need freedom in education, especially in education of children. As in the case of healthcare or roads, the state is heavily distorting the market in educational possibilities. How would the free market in education look like? We can only imagine. We can use some latest research about how children learn best, and on that basis create environments that would encourage that. Environments where children would feel safe, where they would be respected, where they would be trusted, and where they would have access to a lot of educational resources. One thing I'm sure of, that these environments wouldn't look anything like our traditional government schools. Schools based on Prussian model from early 19th century, whose goal was to instill obedience and conformity and to create obedient soldiers, mindless workers, and loyal citizens. It had nothing to do with real education in the sense that we think of today. I believe that 21st century needs freedom in education more than in any other field. Our future depends on it. And now I would like to ask our speakers to introduce themselves. What do you do? Why are you here? And please keep it around 5 minutes. And then I will ask them a few more questions, and then we will leave it to all of you. Okay. Tomáš, you can start.
Hello everyone, good morning. I'm Thomas and I'm also from the organization SvobodaUčení. So as Jirka said, we started very simple and small, but we grew over time. And it only started with a few articles, but now we are organizing also our conferences. We invited a big educational star, Peter Gray, to Prague. He will be coming in April. We also are working on a community center near Prague. And I feel very positive about our future, and I think we will grow into a very big non-profit organization. And so, unsurprisingly, our focus is on education, mainly subverbal schools and unschooling, because 3 or 4 years ago we found out that there's really no information about this in Czech. People didn't know that subverbal existed, I think. But thanks to our website and our other activities, I think people are getting to know that there's not only traditional schooling and maybe Montessori, but also some, let's say, radical approaches to education. And for me, it all started with economy and political philosophy. I'm not a teacher, but I believe that if you apply the same principles that we apply to economics, to education, that you end up with, let's say, unschooling or subbolivarian. It's really the same. Yeah, I think that's pretty much it about me.
Hey, hi, I'm Guillaume Thomas, working for the École de la Liberté in France, which could be translated by a school of freedom, and our motto is the free trade of knowledge. So we started a few years ago in order to spread a new kind of education, especially in higher education, through a website, in order to compete with monopoly of the state on education in France. So we started only in 2015. The team is led by Daniel Tellier, who is a professor of philosophy, and we have decided through a discussion. We are both working in the public education system. We weren't happy at all with it, and we decided to start from scratch an alternative system. So we were backed by free marketers in France, especially in the university. We have a few of them. For instance, we have a scientific council chaired by Pascal Salin, the former president of the Montpellier Society. We have experienced academics, 15 of them backing us, and the idea was to bring together all libertarians in France, in academia, in secondary school education, in order to do online courses and spread libertarian ideas through text, audiobooks, and also conferences. So you see there are plenty of them in every field of knowledge. And why we decided to launch the School of Liberty? Because of the major problem we think is confronting libertarians is that we lost the intellectual battle. So I put a picture, for instance, of Thomas Piketty. He's the most well-known academic in the world, and is responsible of writing a book on capital in the 21st century, which is very critical of our ideas. And so because of the perverseness of status among intellectuals, we wanted to try to build a new community of students and professors in order to fight back, in fact. And we are very influenced by an article of Friedrich Hayek about his warning is that today most parts of the Western world, even the most determined opponents of socialism, derive from socialist sources their knowledge on most subjects. In order to change that, we wanted to use new technologies, which is basically internet. And we also agreed on free market principles and the ideas that the state, it was said by a previous speaker, the state monopoly is very bad because it's the worst monopoly because it's the monopoly of ideas, but a monopoly of how people see the world later in their life. And when you have a monopoly in education, you have a citizen who will follow the rules and follow a big government. And the problems of the monopoly is you have less choices, it's not efficient. When it's centralized, you have one model, and the competition brings a few models, and which selects the best one at the end of the day. And there is no diversity in academia. I'm teaching political science in Grenoble, and I'm maybe only one in France in political science to have free market ideas. And so in order to bring diversity, we decided to gather people online. So our mission is to speak to new audience, to students and young workers, but also to help our libertarians advocates to know the principle in depth. So how do we manage to do that, or trying to do that? We have a digital platform with all the text, all videos, and all audiobooks you could imagine in the French language. Thanks to other organizations like SvobodaUčení.cz, we translate and spread all French liberal traditions. For instance, there is a book of Bastien you can find online, but we also translate American or English content. And so we use a website with economic filter that allows you to choose your text or videos according to the difficulty, the time you can dedicate to the reading, and also the themes that you prefer or your discipline. So for instance, you have a video that you can watch online, you can talk about it with your friends online, but maybe our main goal is to film massive open online courses with libertarian professors through videos of 5 minutes, and that will enable new kind of public to love libertarian ideas, because we are trying to make it simple with very fun professors. So every topics are covered, it's a short format, and our aim is to bring together a community of learners among the French-speaking world. But why I'm here today is to tell you that it's very easy and possible to do that kind of online school in your own country. And that's all for pronunciation.
Hello, I'm Pascal. I was a student at the Democratic School in Prague in Germany for 6 years. I'm explaining a bit about democratic schools. Democratic schools are schools where everyone can decide what they want to do, whether they want to play cards or join the class, or, for example, if they don't want to join the class, want to do something math or want to learn English, for example. So every student has the possibility to do whatever they want. So this is really free way of learning, and of course a way of learning where you can decide what you want to do, because you want to do because you just go to a class if you want to learn, so you learn faster, quicker, you learn these things you are interested in, not things you have to learn because it's arbitrary to the democratic part of democratic schools is that we have a school meeting where we decide about every rule we have in school, how we live in the community together, and how we what students are allowed and what teachers are allowed to do at school, whether we can play computer games, for example, how the behavior rules, all of this. And some of the democratic schools have recruitment committees as well, so we work on so some of the democratic schools have recruitment committees as well, and we vote on our teachers. We get new teachers, and the students vote on who teachers are going to teach us. So this is the part of democratic education, which I will present at the panel. And now I am a council member of UDEC, the European Democratic Education Community. We represent democratic education throughout Europe.
Hi everyone, Björn is my name. I went to a Waldorf school in Germany, and my perspective is that the subjects that were offered were not interested to me, so I was really bored in school, and I decided to stress off all the others, which is really tragic because you're in school to learn something, and then I did just shit. And at the end of my school career, my teacher asked, Leon, what do you want to do with your life? And then I said, come on, like that's a crucial question in school to ask us, but in normal schools they don't ask this question to the students. So, and I couldn't answer it. I didn't know what to do with my life, and I just said, yeah, I don't know. That's a problem. And then I studied philosophy and economics, but dropped out after 1 year, and decided to help a friend of mine because I'm passionate about filmmaking too, Christoph, and we did together this film. It's called Schools of Trust, and we want to show the trailer, but there's no time for it. So I just promoted it. If you're interested in learning more about democratic and free schools, we made this beautiful documentary. We will also offer it for free this year, make a campaign for it, and we show that we have people interviewed with students, teachers, parents, and also neuroscientists, psychologists, and experts. And it's a nice, it's actually a program. And that's what I'm really interested in education. That's it.
Okay, thank you guys. And I will start the questions, and I would like to ask you, what does freedom in education means to you? Just a quick one.
Okay, I will remain seated if that's okay. Before I answer your question, I would like to continue with Lee said, and I think this is very important that in schools where you've got authority, when all your time is regulated by teachers, it's almost impossible to see what you would like to do with your life, and this is something I've been also struggling with quite a lot, especially the last year, and I think I found it on the right track, but it took so much effort, so much frustration, and I think it could be a lot less painful if we allow children to spend their time in a way that they want, and then they will not have to be going through these difficult times of not knowing who you are, what you want to do, and that's a really important part of this education thing for me. So now to your question. So I think the most fundamental way of looking at it is that freedom in education is basically the application of non-aggression principle into education. So for some of you this might say everything, for some of you it might not say much, so I've got a couple of...
Like they're scientifically dead, but they still live normal. They still have normal lives and are intelligent people. So maybe it doesn't answer it completely, but I give you much more. But that's I think a crucial thing that you understand that the human brain is a muscle. It works like a muscle, and you can do whatever you want as long as you are in an atmosphere which is good for the brain, which means freedom. Where you're interested and passionate, then you can do everything.
What do you mean by good?
Sorry, I would like
Could
to
you define what do you mean by good for the brain?
Like a muscle.
Yes, you said it.
It's how the brain is built. So synapses connect and build new connections. And the more you learn and do, the better the connections get. And if you learn, for example, 4 languages, it's easy to learn 5 more. And that's how it works for everything. So the more you get, the bigger it gets and the better. It's endless, actually. It's endless. Your capacity is almost endless.
But you meant like if you're in a good, it said if you're in a good environment, right?
Yeah. So yes, I've been asking about this environment because you said that, for example, democratic school, you are voting for some kind of rules. I didn't get it actually, but now you say that something that is good for him. How do you choose what is good? Because in another sentence, I'm trying to say, okay, you said that before that we should do what is good for us, but you didn't say what is good. Because what I'm trying to say, sometimes when you're trying to say that we have to choose, but we're not saying what is good for us. We're just saying that we should do something what is good, but we're not defining what is good.
Yeah, that's a question of what you want to do with your life. I'm not you. I can't decide for you.
And that's not.
Does it answer?
Yeah.
I would like to add something to the previous question, and I think many times people feel like a school like Sudbury Valley or Summerhill produces only artists or creative people, but they've been existing for over 100 years, and it's very clear that they produce every kind of occupation you can think of, with few exceptions. The exceptions are usually traditional teachers. They do not produce traditional teachers and politics. But they produce mathematicians, doctors, lawyers, every occupation you can think of. And what we need to also, I think, realize is that it's not all your education that you do at this school. I think the main goal is to figure out at this stage of life what you would like to do, and then you move on to another school or online courses or whatever you want. So usually people after this type of school go to university, and that's where they maybe learn their engineering or anything else they are interested in. But it's important to figure out what you want to do.
I think you just arrived at the very basic point of this discussion, like what is really the thing that makes out intelligence, or what's the best education for our children. Unfortunately, the last question I heard of a story that fits this very well. I don't know if you heard about it. It's about boys now 11 or 12 years old. I saw a talk of him at the TED.
Yeah, I saw it also. I just googled it because I don't know what you mean.
Can you tell the story?
Yeah, maybe she knows it better, but I know he was like, he quit school, like traditional school, he went homeschooling, and he chose like something that he really wanted to do. He wanted to be healthy and happy. So he was like there were things, I don't know how to say, but it was like he was searching for things that would make him happy and healthy. So he made like a course. Do you maybe can?
I don't know if that's the same person, but
it's some guy 12-year-old. It had also
it was this autistic boy. He had autism, so he was diagnosed with autism. That was everything about the story. I just felt so at age 1 he was diagnosed with autism, and what the doctors basically said to him is, or to his mother, that he wouldn't be able to do anything in life. He wouldn't be able to tie his shoes. He wouldn't be able to do basic things, talk to people, or anything. And well, at age 11, he gave a TED talk. He still wasn't able to tie his shoes, but that's another story. And basically, at the start of his life, he was sent to a special school for mentally ill people, and they had all this low impact learning, like arts and stuff, and like for mentally ill children. But the thing was, his condition wasn't getting any better. What the doctors told his mom is weren't really good perspectives for him, and it was like something was wrong. So his mother decided to take him out of the school, against any authority said. And the thing was, I listened to his talk at the conference, and he explained what was the problem, because he was at his school and he couldn't draw anything, and he just stood around and looked somewhere, and some people thought there was something up with his brain. But what he was actually doing is studying the light, studying he knew some things were going around here, and he studied other stuff, like what he wanted to do. And so after he was taken out of the school, he started to go into astrophysics. He started to engage with Newton and what the problem with Newton was, and he started building his own theory. He scribbled a lot of stuff on.
I think it's a great example that you tell. It's exactly what I'm saying. Yeah, first.
Basically, that's why he did astrophysics at home, like his hobby. And after his mother called someone from the university, they said, okay, that's a good theory. And now he's 11 years old and studying astrophysics at the university.
Yeah. And the doctor said like he has no chance in life, right? And there's another example that's really similar with someone who had Down syndrome and now is a psychologist. The human brain is a muscle, and only because some people like don't want you to do or to succeed in your way, they tell you you're ill, but you're not ill.
I think it's also very important that you can show yourself, that you shouldn't underestimate that.
Exactly.
Thank you. We are slowly running out of time, so we have time for 2 last questions in a row.
Okay, I will try to be a devil advocate. Every time I think about the freedom in education, some people, let's say, like outside the building, not libertarian. The first thing I hear that if we allow everybody to decide what to teach its children, then there will be some group of people, let's say parents, who will simply deny the education for the children, and that causes like 10% of society is like predestined for failure without the education, the most important moment of their life. How you fight that argument to the people who are not libertarian? So 95% of the world.
Maybe 99.
99. I will answer the same way as I answered the one before, and I think this problem is here right now, and it's happening right now, even though we have so much regulation. So we got the regulation, it doesn't solve anything. So the problem is here, we've got the regulation, and the regulation don't help it at all, I would say.
Last question.
And even if you know, if it's, let's say there's 10% of people who would do think as you described, but is it really logical to regulate the remaining 90% for this 10%? So I would say no.
Yeah. I would just add that the current public system is bringing irresponsibility because, for instance, in the very statist system like in France, the government tells you what to do from 3 years old to 18 years old. There is no incentives for children or parents to make choices about their lives. And the problem that we have is that children start to think about what they'll do later in life when they are 18, 20 years old because they are not brought up in a good environment. So I would say that in a free market with a lot of choices, we'll have an environment which will invite both parents and children to make some choices and the best choices for themselves.
Do you think that some societies are more ready for free education than others? Because if we take, let's say, you talked a lot about the Czech Republic and the situation. If we take, for instance, Finland, where the education system is really good. Like when they were reforming the system, like in the 70s or 80s, they sat together and they decided that we either prepare our kids for exams or we prepare them for life. And of course, they all kept in mind the Einstein school that if you try to prepare the disability to climate tree, it will live an entire life thinking that it's stupid. So do you think that some societies are more ready at this point and that's why they have this free education and some societies are not? And if yes, what do you think about such thing that if there is such a notion as too much freedom? Because with freedom always comes responsibility, and if you take, for instance, the German philosopher Erich Fromm, he talked a lot about the freedom being something which is too much for some people, and this is the reason why we have the totalitarianism.
Yeah, it's a long question.
Yeah, I'm not sure there is a cultural thing. I would say there are some political institutions with incentives to some politicians or people to change society. And I would say it's because you have a lot of vested interests, you have a lot of public servant, civil servant. The state's organization is very developed in some countries and not in others. That explains the outcomes, I would say. There is a bad dependency of political institution that invites the civil society to review itself.
Yeah, you see in history that the world is always changed by ideas, and it can be really fast. And also this example with she told before, I think it's possible for every culture at every level, every time. That the understanding and practicing a freer society. For example, like if you take this for Germany, I would say that Germany is not ready because they're really they're not self-responsible. They learned to be obedient and dependent all the time, like nanny state phenomenon. But still, we make this film, and so many people are helping us, and it's working. I think it's possible everywhere at every time. And it can be really fast with the right ideas.
We have like not many, but a few democratic schools in Europe, about 50. There are in Spain, France, Germany, Denmark, the UK, and Poland, and in other countries as well. And there are a lot of democratic schools in Israel, in the United States, and in South Korea. So it is different. It is possible in different cultures and different countries, and there are different ways of education in different countries.
Just few words. Yeah. So I would say that yes, the educational systems are a bit different in every country. So some countries might be a little closer to this change, but fundamentally it's all the same. I think it all started in Russia, as Jirka said, but I had a chance to travel to Iran, and just by accident I went to one lesson. It was exactly the same as the lessons we had. There was a teacher, the classroom was structured in the very same way. The education systems are fundamentally the same. But I think this is what the parallel system or parallel strategy solves. It will allow the opportunity for people who are ready to take their responsibility to go or to have their kids in such schools, and for the remaining part who might not be ready yet, they can stay in the current system. So that's another good thing about the parallel strategy.
Okay, thank you everyone for coming. Thank you for your answers. Thank you our speakers. And we will be here.
Second time.
We will be here all day and maybe also tomorrow. So if you have any other questions, I want to just ask.